I want to thank you for coming along today, mate. Giving up your time. I know it's game day and you're heavily involved in the club at the moment, so thanks for coming across today. Now, you had a 338 game career for the West Tigers. Not just the West Tigers, Cronulla Sharks and Newcastle Knights as well. I want to go back to the beginning and how did that path to rugby league start for you, and how did that path to the West Tigers start for you?
Thank you. Firstly, thanks for having me. I really enjoy seeing everyone here, especially fans and members, supporting the club. It obviously hasn't been the greatest couple of years, but we really value your support. I started actually playing just up the road here at Yamina Bunnies. So I'm a Central Coast kid, and Tim Sheen's got appointed as a coach in 2003, a long time ago. Yeah, I'm getting old, yep. And he come and watched me play in a reserve grade game I was playing for North Sydney, who are located here. And he asked if I wanted to come along and be a part of the 2023 squad. And I did that and had a really good pre-season and ended up debuting the 2003 round one. The double header, I think we played the Dragons. So I debuted there and it was a double header, big crowd. Great experience. But so that's how I sort of come into the Tigers, and I played 201 games for the great club.
And that debut came really quickly. You had only signed at the club the previous year. So pretty much signed with the club, and that first game available, you're selected to play your first game. So I think that's a huge effort as well, and shows that you were NRL ready when you were signed. Who did have the biggest impact on your career as you were developing as a rugby league player?
Yeah, another good question. I believe, like the coach, Tim Sheens, he was, a really smart, educated coach, and I was a young kid coming into footy, and I wasn't the biggest guy, so he kept developing my footy. My dad, he was my biggest supporter. He didn't give me much feedback on footy. He just, always drove me and always put positive feedback from my dad. And, I try and do that with my two kids now. So, my dad was my biggest supporter. Tim Sheens was good. And all the players I played with, unbelievable. Still catch up with them now. And, I've got a lot of lifetime friends through footy.
Now, you mentioned that you started playing over at the Yamina Bunnies. The Central Coast area has that beautiful stadium over there. It's been sitting there for a long time now, not really being used by the game of rugby league. What's your opinion of what should happen with the NRL with the Central Coast area?
Yeah, it's a really good area. It's an area what's growing, and rugby league's growing. I think it's second or third biggest in New South Wales with kids who play the game. My kids are at Terrigal Sharks, and they've got over 50 teams in the club. So it is a big breeding ground. I think the Roosters are doing their development here, taking a lot of our good young kids. I've definitely got an eye out on a kid, and a few kids hopefully can get into the Balmain or West system, and like a Tim Moulton who come from the Central Coast, or like myself. I think they're doing it all right. I don't know if they should have a team here full time, but I do love watching teams come out and play here, and I think the Roosters versus Bulldogs was nearly a sellout. I think it'll be a good crowd here today. So they love their footy on the coast, and a lot of West Tigers supporters.
Now, I think probably a highlight of your career, and the highlight for most West Tigers fans, is something growing up as a Balmain supporter, I doubt I'd ever get to see. You're a massive part of the 2005 Premiership. A beautiful 3 months of football, really, that kind of came out of the blue a little bit and went all the way to winning the competition. What are your memories of that period of time?
Yeah, I remember we started the season really slow, and we were having crisis meetings. I think we were 2 from 6, and then we got confidence, and we had a good mix of senior players and young players like myself. Bryce Gibbs, Liam Fulton, Benji Marshall, Robbie Farah, the list goes on. And then we had some really good senior players who would keep us in line. But we really connected really good as a group, which is important. Like, I thought a 30-year-old was like an old man when I was 20, 21. But we connected really well, and they really helped us out, the senior players. But yeah, we got on an 8-game winning streak, like you mentioned. And then we had 2 weeks before the semis where we lost
both of them.
Lost both games, but we just took the foot off the accelerator a bit, and then the final series we lit it alight. We just had a real good mixture of youth and experience and talent. Obviously you just get the ball to Benji and he'll step and weave, and you needed the guys who were going forward and strong wingers. And Paddy Richards played with a broken leg that night. I thought he was outstanding, and then our lock forward Dean Hallertau to go to the wing. Just experience things like that was quite amazing, and something I'll never forget. I sort of got given it to me. I was only 3 years into my career. There I am playing in a full house, first ever West Tigers grand final win, and it's memories that I'll remember forever.
And you talk about that happened 3 years into your career, but it was a very long career. 338 games. There's not a lot of players that go past that 300 player mark. Is that a special thing for you to have that longevity in the game?
Yeah, it is. Like it's hard. Like footy's hard every week, every 7 days. You got to get up and tackle people and have runs. But I really enjoyed it. I never stopped loving the game. I always really enjoyed the challenge every week of getting up and training and playing and trying to perform the best of my ability. Like I said, I played 11 years. It's a great club, West Tigers, 201 games. And then I had to move to another club, which took me a year or two to get used to. But I found a new group of mates and families and friends. And, I had the opportunity to win another one in 2016. Probably, I felt different because it was an 11-year gap, so I had to work a lot harder to keep my positions, all these young kids coming through. So they both were brilliant. It was the Sharks' first ever one. But the West Tigers one, something I'll never forget because, I was 3 years in, I was 22 years of age, and just running out with all the black and gold was unbelievable.
Now, the other part of that is you did leave the West Tigers. And I just want to get your thoughts on that decision to leave a club you'd won a premiership at, a club that had given you that opportunity. How hard was that for you?
Yeah, it was a very hard decision. To be fair, it wasn't made by me. When there's a salary cap and then all the players are playing so well and we've come off a grand final win, everyone's wage is going to go up. So I was the unlucky one that had to move on. There was no room in the salary cap for me and a few others, which I understand, and I understand at the time. It's a business and you have a salary cap, and, they thought it was, the right decision from the club. And, here I am back working with the forwards and doing the effort areas. It felt like I never left. Still there at Concord, still see the same fans and members and all the Central Coast guys who travel to all the games. It's quite phenomenal what you sacrifice to come to every game is quite phenomenal.
Now, you just said you're back at the club now. What is that role you have at the club now, and how's that progressing into next year as well?
Yeah, so I sort of look after the big meatheads, the forwards, and I look after effort areas, which, to be fair, I think the team's done real well with effort. Very well with effort. Yeah, I score a lot of their effort areas, and we go into video after a game, and there's a green jacket they win, like the Masters of golf, and got a bit of a theme going there. And I can't fault their effort, but we're not playing for the full 80 minutes. Obviously, we've got a young squad. We're debuting a lot of kids. I think we've used the most kids so far this year on debut or club debut. I think we're one of the youngest teams ever, the former team. I put out there versus the Titans, and we did a real good job versus them and the Raiders. But we're just a bit inconsistent. So I'm off contract, but hopefully I can talk to the club and stay for a lot longer, because I'm really enjoying my time as the forwards coach and doing them effort areas. It gets challenging at times when you tell you're a coach and you tell them to do something they don't do it, and you can't understand why, and I can't actually go and physically do it anymore. So, and I do the blue shirt where I messenger, where you run out the messengers. It's probably the next best step from, and being next player, you're right there, right amongst it. And you see the boys how hard they try and work. A few games it just hasn't been right for us, but there's been a lot of effort.
You haven't thought about tackling Alan Langer while you're in that blue shirt role when you're playing in Brisbane?
I actually have, but then I seen him. It was a slippery nine. He was in joggers, so he stays on there a long time. He's really good at his job when to go and when not to go, because when he goes on, they seem to get a 6 to go, so he gets to stay for not only 6, he gets another 6 and 12 tackles. So I'm trying to learn off him as well, but he's one of the masters at it.
There's been a little bit of press around Benji Marshall as coach throughout the season, that he's not a full-time coach, and a lot of rubbish around that. You're working with him every day. What do you see as his best attributes as a coach and leading West Tigers forward?
He's the most hardest worker in the room. We get there at 6, 6:15. He turns the lights on. We do a gym session ourselves. He pushes all our staff to do that, to show the boys that we're training, and then they come in seeing that we're working hard. He's extremely hard worker. He's obviously gifted as a player and coach. He'll have them tough conversations. Yeah, he might go home and help with the kids, but who doesn't? He's one of the guys who actually expresses what he's feeling and talks about it, when other coaches will be real cagey. I'm assuming every coach who's a dad's going to go home and help with their family. So extremely hard work ethic, knows the vision of the club, knows where it's going. Obviously he inherited this squad we've got, and he's doing a pretty good job with debuting guys, getting the best out of players like Dream Buller. He wasn't even top 30 last year. I think he was training trial. Now he's one of our main men. You got Appy Coruscant, probably the best hooker in the game, in my opinion. You got Stefano on the edge there, left side, back row, comes from Manly, played 2 games, playing outstanding. Obviously signed Luai to play like he's doing now, but no one knew that he could play like that, but Benji did. He was ahead of the game in that area, because obviously Cleary plays that role when he's back. But Benji watched him a few times as a kid, and when he represented Samoa, he played on the ball and did a really good job.
And,
so he's going to be an
to the final.
Yeah, he led him to the final. So him slipping in at half, he's seen him in Origin, he picked his opportunities and did really well. Benji's an outstanding coach, and he's going to be for years to come.
Now, this is a fan base that's now up to 13 years without finals football. What's the message you can give to this fan base? What do we have to look forward to and maintain that positivity of our fan base?
Yeah, like I said at the start, I think yous are amazing. The boys brought up, I think we played Titans and we lost 9 in a row. And after the warm-up, everyone got up and clapped. And they're like, whoa, that's unbelievable. This support, who's the support of the club, the members, the fans, get up and clap us after 9 losses before we played. And it really gave them energy and inspired them to get a good win. Because we debuted a lot. I think the Titans made 9 line breaks, but we stopped them. We scrambled real good and made the save, And that's the back of you fans. You turn up every week and, it's out of Campbelltown or Leichhardt or even here today. It's all about the fans, the community, and coming as one. You obviously, like you said, the 13 years hasn't been great, but we're working as hard as we can as a club and as a coaching staff to get the right players to make you guys really proud of us. Yeah, so thanks for all your support, members, fans, everyone. Obviously been a hard 13 years, but we're here to stay and we're here to be successful.
And last question. Yep. How do we beat South today?
I reckon right through the middle. Damien Cook, he's there to attack, not to defend. He's missing a lot of tackles, so our big power men are going to go straight at him. Hopefully create play the ball speed, get Bullets and ball back on the inside. They're a bit lazy on edges. Control, obviously Walker there, he's their main indicator, but no Latrell. They've got a small little fullback. We're going to pressure in. And we've based our game on a lot of effort. Locking them in, so when we kick the ball down, we kick sprint down and we lock them inside the 20. So today when you see us tackle them inside the 20, that's a win. We want to get 8 of them a game. And the game last week wasn't up to our standards, and the boys are going to react today and come out firing.
Have to thank you, mate, for coming along today. I know it's a busy day getting here. A coach of our club and giving up time on game day. Thanks a lot, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.